This video is going to show you how to create the passenger base section. When you first open this one up, go ahead and create a new part file. Again, make sure you're under the English template. Don't choose sheet metal, just standard part file. And again, I'm using an older version of Inventor than you are, so mine will look a little bit different, but most of the tools are still in the same place. We want to look at the overall dimensions for this shape. It's showing that it's 1.975 by 1.590. So when this loads up, we'll start a new sketch. Choose your XY plane, and we're just going to make a rectangle from here to here. And again, I'm going to double check those measurements. 1.975, and then the second dimension is 1.590. 1.590. Hit the front button and zoom out, so you'll have something that looks like this. The dimensions will be in place. You don't have to delete them or anything. The next portion that we're going to look at are the fillets around the edge. We'll just go ahead and get that taken care of right now. And it's showing you that the curvature for this line, or the fillet for this line, is 0.20. So I'm going to go ahead and go to fillet, set it to 0.2, and I'm going to click on each corner. And then close that out. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make the square that's right here in this corner. And it's showing me that this square is 0.580 square. So I'm going to actually go ahead and just, again, use the rectangle tool. And I'm going to make up 0.580 by 0.580 square. And no, it's not in the correct place, but I'm going to use the dimension tool to make sure that this side right here is 0.2 away from this edge, and it will move everything for me. So I'm going to click right here, 0.2. So it was pretty close. And then from this edge to this edge, they give me a dimension. It's really small, but they bring it over here, and it's 0.050. So 0.050. Hit enter. Next portion I'm going to make is the circle over here. This is a 0.580 circle, so I'm going to go ahead and just make my circle 0.580, and then you can use the dimension tool to dimension away from the edges. And sometimes it doesn't want to click on the right spot, and sometimes it does. In the case of this one, it's very difficult to get this dimension. Sometimes it doesn't click in the right spot. So if you click right here and then you go down, you'll see that the dimension tool looks a little bit different over here to the right if I move it just a little bit. So we want that one for dimension between the edge and the edge. And I believe the dimension they give us is 0.050, and it's already there. So I'm just going to click and hit OK. And then they do the same thing, dimension from this edge. And we want to make sure we have the right icon, this one. And they give us a dimension of 0.20. So change this one to 0.2. Hit OK. So it moves my circle where it's supposed to be. So I have the circle and the square. Next portion that we're going to make is the triangular portion right here. And we're going to go ahead and place that. And we could use the polygon tool. Change it to 3 sides. And go ahead and set this one. We'll line it up right here. Actually, we'll go ahead and change that really quick, because we're going to end up moving it. I just made the polygon. I'm going to adjust the dimension for this line. Change it to 0.638. Hit OK, and it will adjust everything for me. The next thing I want to do is I want to dimension from this point to this edge, so from here to this edge, and it gives me a dimension of 0.20. Move that over, and then we just want to double check and make sure that this is the appropriate distance of 0.050 from right here. So this point to this point should be 0.050, and it's really close. Make that adjustment. So you should now have a circle, the square, the triangle, and you can do these in any order. These are just the order that I'm creating these in. Now when we make the circle, we're going to go ahead and start by using construction lines. With this specific one, they give us a 0.605 circle. So we go back in, and again, 0.605. And I'm just going to find the center point because I already have these, and make sure you actually click the center point. But I'm going to find the center point between the circle and the triangle that I've already made. 0.065, and I believe that's the wrong dimension again. 0.605. 0.605. Hit OK. Next I'm going to make my polygon tool. It's 5-sided. I'm going to place that in the middle and make sure it looks just like the one in the image. And then I'm going to make a circle on the inside. They don't show you the circle on the inside in this drawing. It's in another sketch, but I'm going to go ahead and make that, and I believe it's 0.412 in the other drawing, but I'm not really going to give it a size, and I want to make sure that I don't lock onto any of my other pieces when I make this. So I'm just going to make it. Now I'm actually going to make the circle a little bit bigger. I'm going to go ahead and change it. Just again, make sure I don't lock onto any of the spots, but I'm going to click it, and then deselect the construction line tool, select the line tool, and I'm just going to make sure that as I'm making the star, I'm connecting the green dots to the green dots as I'm making this. I want to use those same points. So I clicked here again, make sure you're hitting that green dot. And just continue that all the way around. Once we have the star in place, mine looks kind of similar to the other one, but we're going to make some adjustments. First thing that I want to do, deselect my line tool, and I'm going to make this line right here vertical using the vertical constraint since it is vertical in the image here. So I'm going to go ahead and click here, and it made the adjustment. Now the last thing I have to do is I need to set the actual dimensions and make sure that everything is equal. This line right here is 0.187, so I'm going to go ahead and set the dimension for this one to 0.187, and then use the equal tool to make sure that everything is equal with these ones. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure I click on the correct ones. And if you get a error like that, it's usually because the dimensions have already been adjusted automatically. So just continue to go around. And I believe that they all should be in good shape right now. So I can just check the dimensions and 0.178. Same thing with this one, 0.178 probably. Oops, 0.178. So my lines are all correct like they're supposed to be. I have my star in place. Once you're done with that, you can hit Finish Sketch. And at this point you should be able to extrude this shape and just get the actual outline. Go into the dimensions and the shell thickness for this one, and we'll talk about shell thickness in a minute, but the actual thickness right here is 0.30. So we go back into here and we set this to 0.30 and we hit OK. Now, they do give us a shell thickness on this one. We can't see it on this particular drawing, but it has a 0.01 shell thickness. So we go back in here, and we are going to use the shell tool, and we're going to select this back portion, 0.01, and we're going to hit OK. So you should have something that looks like that on the back and like this on the front. Make sure that you save this part as passenger base. Do not save it as something else.